You're tuned into Toby Talks, Episode 6, When the Glo Up Gets Real. From nursing school reviews to Bedside RN and more. So let's table back to fall 2008. That was the year I found out that I got accepted into nursing school. It was actually on my birthday. My dad had called me to wish me happy birthday and pray for me and sing, and it was such a beautiful thing. And right after, he told me that I got a letter from a nursing program. And if you grew up in any kind of African household, any kind of letter or mail that you get in with your name on it, just know it's going to be opened by your parents. So I'm glad we got that out the way. So my dad opens up my letter and reads it to me, and we find out that I got accepted into the nursing program. And it was actually the current university I was attending as well. So knowing that I was going to start nursing school in the spring '09, I was dead excited, like I could not wait. But it never dawned on me to actually go to the university, the actual campus, the nursing campus, and tour around, look at the facility, look at the simulation labs, and if I had the opportunity, even get to talk to nursing students. I really wish I took that opportunity to do that, because that university and that nursing school was actually not the fit for me. I ended up transferring about a year and a half later, and I really wish I took that opportunity at the beginning to really assess and see if this is the program for me, instead of just jumping on the first acceptance letter I got. My guest today, Alexandria, is definitely going to share light on a couple of universities that she actually toured around on, and what her views were that made her choose the university she did for her nursing program. Because remember, any nursing school you're going to go into is an investment, not only a financial investment, but an educational investment preparing you for your nursing journey. So before I talk too much, let's go ahead and hop into this conversation, because it's definitely going to be a good one. I really want to know, how did you pick this field called nursing?
Actually, nursing was kind of ingrained in me at a young age. When I was in high school, we were required volunteer hours. And due to that, the easiest thing for me to do was actually pick a local hospital that was close to my family's house at the time. So I was volunteering there at the information desk. Just the hustle and bustle of the hospital intrigued me, learning about science. Science and math have always been my favorite subject. So definitely that spiked my interest as well. And my high school had we kind of did clusters, career clusters, if that makes sense. So there's like health, you'll have your computer kind of tech cluster. So I joined the health cluster. I got my certification in phlebotomy through high school. And just from there, I've always kind of felt a natural attraction to healthcare.
Wow. So you were like very aware in high school. I didn't even know your high school had these kind of things. So that would probably be the one thing for people to look for, is like if your high school has these kind of health clusters, you called it?
Definitely. A lot of high schools are turning towards that kind of shift. I know a lot of them are either having some type of career focused track that they're doing. Even the magnet schools nowadays and the collegiate preparatory schools are focusing on either STEM or something like tech. So that it's really starting to pick up.
That's really good. So walk me through how you decided which nursing school you wanted to go to. I mean, you got out of high school, so did you go to a local college? Did you do your ADN and then you went to your BSN, or how did you become an RN?
Oh, right. So my parents definitely were very, very supportive of me going to college from jump. They didn't necessarily finish college themselves. They did attend college, but neither one of them graduated with their bachelor's degree. So they always, at a young age, encouraged myself and my two siblings, my brother and sister, to make sure that we go to college and finish. I actually started looking up colleges myself as a junior in high school. And I remember my first college visit was the University of Oklahoma. They had something called a junior day. And I remember my whole family jumping in the car and driving out there to the University of Oklahoma. We were able to kind of get that collegiate atmosphere, as well as definitely visit the nursing school there. And I was in a program called Upward Bound, sponsored. It's one of the trio programs. I don't know if you've heard of like SSS or Upper Bound, but they are government funded specifically for students. Yeah, it's great. Like, I'm so grateful that I kind of stumbled on that opportunity. But the TRIO programs are government funded programs that definitely assist students in high school that have parents that do not have college degrees. So that's what was able for me to qualify. And my brother and sister kind of followed in that line, and they qualified as well for that program. And the way I saw it was just a random flyer posted in like one of my classrooms. And I brought it to my parents, tried it, or went to an information session and got signed up. And I started, I want to say the first semester of my sophomore year in high school, but the TRIO program, the Upper Bound program, was great. It was actually located on the campus of Southern Methodist University in Dallas, which is where I'm from. They helped me with classes that were coming up the next year. For example, if I had geometry, my junior year, I would be learning about geometry in the summer prior to that junior year. And then they would help us with our homework and things like that every single Saturday during the school year. And through them also, we were able to go on college tours. So they definitely focus on college readiness. They helped my parents fill out my FAFSA, the free application for student aid. So I really do attribute a lot of my college readiness and a lot of my collegiate exposure at a young age due to the TRIO Upper Bound program.
That is great. I mean, I didn't even know that even existed. So was that
right? I know.
Was that what you did to get into nursing school as well, or was that just to get into college?
You know what? I do want to kind of attribute them to being the reason that I was able to even picture myself going to colleges or really good colleges. They never put a limit on us. Like, if we were from Texas, a lot of the families were like, that I knew, the families of the friends that I knew were saying, that you have to go to a college that's close, or we want you to go to a college in Texas for, in-state tuition. It might have been more affordable for that family. Yeah. But the TRIO Upper Bound program never put that limit on us. If we wanted to travel to go to like California or something like that, they definitely supported us. I wanted to go Howard University was one of my top schools. It was actually my number one when I was in high school. Okay. And they are the program that allowed me to go pay for my plane ticket, lodging, all of that for me to go and tour Howard University.
That is awesome. So was that the school that you end up going and doing your nursing degree in?
It was not. I actually chose to go to Texas Christian University in Fort Worth, Texas for various reasons. But Howard, once again, was my number one choice because of my grades as well as my ACT scores. I was able to get a full ride scholarship to Howard. All I had to do was pay for room and board, and I still did not end up going there, just due to the fact that while I was on the tour, they were very warm and welcoming. I think it was kind of like a pep rally for the touring students, and I was able to tour the nursing program in the nursing school. And the professors there were welcoming. I don't specifically remember talking to the students that attended the nursing program, but I was able to tour the facilities. Unfortunately, some of the equipment that they were using did seem a little bit outdated versus what I saw at previous college tours. Like I mentioned, the University of Oklahoma. I even toured Stephen F. Austin. Wow. And their nursing program is really good. And so it's just kind of discouraging for me to know that that's my top school. And their nursing program kind of, I hate to say this, but it just almost felt like I could have gotten a better education there at another place, just because I wanted to be kind of trained on the best equipment. I wanted to be trained with what they were using in the field currently. I just knew if I was going to, pay for my education, that I wanted to be able to have exposure to the best materials possible, just so that I could be ready at those facilities that I would be going to outside of nursing school once I graduated. Yeah, so it was really kind of a little disheartening for me. So that was one of the reasons why I chose not to go there, not because of the university itself. I knew the prestige of Howard University. I knew the legacy of a lot of the people that have graduated from there. I felt welcome there. So it wasn't apprehension about actually being a student. It was just specifically the nursing program itself. I just kind of was hoping that it kind of didn't equivocate for me with other nursing programs that I had seen when I was on those previous college tours. So it was a disheartening experience.
But I like that, though. I like that you brought that up because, to be honest, that was never even my thought process getting into nursing school. Like, let me make sure that they got updated supplies and their teaching equipment is going to be good. And I think as a nursing student, if you get into a program, you're excited. You're like, oh my God, I got in. Right. I don't care if they don't even have a mannequin for me to do CPR on, at least.
Right.
But I love that perspective because at the end of the day, we have loans, we have scholarships, we're paying for this. So we need to make sure that we're observant of what we're paying for. We're getting the best quality we can. That is
right. It was definitely almost a catch-22 because I had visited those other schools and I had something to compare it to. And, I did my research. I did, the top ranking nursing schools in the nation, blah, blah, blah. I did all of that, Google everything. And I knew what ranking Howard was, but that didn't shy me away from wanting to actually attend the school until I physically got there. And I, kind of saw for myself what a contrast it was. And just another reason why I did choose to attend TCU, Texas Christian University, is just because of their actual admission process into the nursing school. It was very unique. TCU is a private school, so your grades kind of have to be A1 on par.
And your pockets need to be A1 on par.
They do, because it's a smooth Mercedes each year. Like, I could have got 4 Mercedes by now. But that's a story for a different day. Or it can be a story for today. But their admission process at Texas Christian University, once you put on your application that you want to be a nursing student in the Harris College of Nursing, as long as you keep a certain grade point average in your prerequisite classes, you're automatically admitted. So there was no second application. There was no rigorous trial. Now, there was a weed out process. You still had your A&P, you still had your microbiology, you still had those courses that were designed to weed you out. However, as long as kept that GPA, you were automatically admitted. A lot of the other schools that I did visit was a whole separate admission process. Texas Women's University, Stephen F. Austin, University of Oklahoma. I visited Baylor. I wanted to visit Prairie View A&M, but because I do know that was another one of the HBCUs that does have a great nursing school, and I was wanting to go to an HBCU, but I was not able to attend PV. But all these other campuses that I heard of definitely had another admission process. And I guess because of the horror stories that I heard from other friends that have already kind of traveled down that area, that I just did not want anybody to tell me, no, you can't live your dreams because you may be a bad tester. Or you have test anxiety, or no, you can't, you're going to have to wait a year, so that we can, or there aren't enough spaces in the program. It's only a limited number. And since it's so competitive, you're going to have to wait. I did not want that to be my story, because at the end of the day, you're adding money to what I'm going to have to pay you in student loans. I just didn't want to do that. But at the end of the day, it was almost a sacrifice too, because TCU is very expensive. So.
But that's good, though. That's a good point that you brought out because, of course, disclaimer, we're definitely not promoting TCU or promoting any of the colleges in Dallas and in Houston. But I love your perspective because what you're saying is not only are you touring and making sure the facilities are up to par for nursing, you also want to look at the schools that's going to have a good process for you to get into the program. And that's a really good thing to be observant about because, yes, you're right. You will be on a waiting list, or you will have to do a separate application, and you're spending a lot of money to do this. Even if you have to wait another year, you're waiting another year taking classes you might not need, but you're trying to stay in the school system. So I like that you brought that out. Those are really two good perspectives to think about when you are trying to go into nursing school. So when you went into TCU, what was your experience like in the program? Like, how was it from an educational standpoint, a clinical standpoint? Like, what were some of the highlights for you?
And I do want to say just one more thing, going back to that last question. Like, I don't want that to be anybody's fear of attending a nursing school that you do have to apply for. I just know for me, that was a fear for me. But, you know, looking back at it, that should not have been something that held that much weight or been that much of a fear for me, just because, you know, whatever is meant for you will be yours. If you don't get in that one year, maybe that's not your year. Maybe the next year is where your best will be. So I did want to say that really quickly before we jump into the next question.
Thank you.
But definitely. But to answer that question, my experience at the university in the nursing program, I really enjoyed myself. I definitely feel like the teachers or the professors, cared about me once I got into the program. Some of the teachers in the prereq classes, like I mentioned, like some of the weed out classes, like the A&P or the microbiology, it was kind of like you were a number, you're, you know, sitting in a big auditorium, like the whole, whatever is publicized on TV about college, that was what those classes were. But when it came to like my history of nursing courses or even some of our labs, like the fundamentals of nursing, and even up until like the pediatrics and the critical care classes, I do feel like the professors cared about the student and their success. And I do feel like we were kind of like in this together. Now, although that's good. And although I say that, TCU is a PWI, which stands for a predominantly white institution, and it's a private school. So you have to think about both of those layers coming from the perspective of an African American or a minority. Even in that big auditorium, one of the few minorities, I still was, especially when I got to my upper level courses and my clinical cohorts, I definitely have been the one or two African American people in the room.
Was that challenging for you to be that?
It was definitely very challenging, just because of the simple fact that there would be times where I feel like other students or my other classmates were able to forge bonds. They were able to, you know, easily get together and form study groups. And you need a support system like that, especially with the material that is in nursing. Like, you need that support system. You need to be able to talk through the material. You need to be able to kind of spit it back out to each other and be able to teach each other. And I do remember some classes where some students were able to reach out to me and be like, you know, hey, let's study this. But, you know, that may be one out of the 4 or 5 classes I had for the whole semester where that would happen.
What do you think causes that? Like, what do you think is that hesitation to want to collaborate with you? Do you really think it's because of your skin color, or do you feel like it's just internal competition in the program and everybody just kind of wants to do their own thing? Like, what was your perspective?
I definitely don't think for my particular program at my school that it was internal competition. Everybody was kind of just trying to make it through, you know, the best way they could. I definitely feel like there may have been apprehension from both ends. I definitely felt like the odd one out, kind of like the ugly duckling, like on campus as a whole. In TCU, there's only 5% undergrad at the entire school, and there's possibly 35,000 students. So, you know, you do the math on that. And out of those 5%, that's including athletes, that's including all of the programs there. So I would definitely like to see the numbers for the nursing program. But it's definitely apprehension from both ends. I definitely think I was a little bit more hesitant to approach some of my classmates as they were for me, especially, you know, if they didn't have to, they weren't going to. And if they were some of the individuals that they may have grown up in different areas in high school where there weren't a lot of us, then, you know, they never were able to have that interaction, or they never had to have the interaction with minorities. So they just, they might have had the perspective of, I don't really need to, oh, you're good. I don't really need to reach out to you.
We don't gotta be
going to what was familiar. Right.
You know what I thought, a thought that just came to my mind? You know how you get into the program and it's like you hit the ground running on day one, and, you're all sitting in this big class. Nobody knows anybody, but you're just, bam, you're all here. You're about to start this journey together, but you don't know each other. I wish that nursing programs incorporated like a mixer, like the day before school or the first day of class, where you are literally, this would be awesome, because you're right. You have people from all different kind of cultural backgrounds, different aspects of life, different states, whatever, being thrown into one class and all just starting the first day, going over the syllabus in chapter 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 on the first day. But if that first day or the day before classes start, if we just had a big mixer, like, hey, we got drinks, we got food, everyone mix and mingle, get to know each other, because y'all are about to know each other for the next 4 years, or at least those that make it. But you know what I mean? I think that would definitely be an open gateway to this unspokenness of not being able to feel comfortable in your class and almost feel like you're alone, And I like how you said the apprehensions on both ends, because a lot of times we do look at it as, oh, they don't like me because I'm Black, or I'm white and she might not want to hang out with me because I'm not Black. And it's never that the case. It literally is. It's just that awkwardness. It's almost like when you're a little kid and you're the only one in class and you don't know anyone until someone comes up to you and be like, hi, you want to be my friend? Well, we're adults. Yeah. Apparently we forget to do that. So I don't know. That just popped in my head like, wow, that would be such an awesome way to start your nursing program. Get to know everyone.
Definitely.
But anyway,
and then even in that setting, you're going to have to come out of your shell or come out of your comfort zone, but it's less pressure, definitely outside the classroom.
Less pressure. So tabling back to your experiences, and I'm glad that you had a good one, vice versa with the whole not being able to mix with everyone in your class. But I'm glad that you did speak about having a support system in nursing school, because that was really a big thing. If you didn't have it through the program, that's like, So how was it when you graduated? How was your first year at the bedside? Because, we hear all these horror stories of, oh my gosh, they eat their young, or you don't feel like you're being guided, or you feel like everything you learned in school really didn't apply to you until you get to the bedside, and it's like a whole different world. How was that for you?
Well, my transition to the bedside was actually very smooth. When I want to say between my junior and senior year, the summer of 2014, I was able to become a nurse extern at Texas Scottish Rite Hospital, which is one of the leading orthopedic pediatric hospitals here in the nation, that has a very specialized population with spina bifida, scoliosis, hip, developmental disabilities. So I was able to land a nursing externship with that program. And I kind of stayed on after the program concluded and just became a tech there. I already knew kind of the culture of the hospital. That's one thing, they'll talk about it a lot, just making sure that your personality fits with the culture of the hospital when you are seeking for, employment at that institution. I definitely already knew a lot of the nurses. I knew some of the management. I was very comfortable with even the director of nursing at Scottish Rite was super hands-on and super present and she was seen. So that's one thing I appreciated.
I mean, that's good to have someone that would come in and be a face of the unit and actually know your name, converse with you. So that's really good. So are you saying that doing an internship when you were in nursing school, that's what helped you get into your job and make you feel comfortable at the bedside?
Definitely. That was paramount. I feel like being a junior, and it was coming up on the summer before senior year, and everybody was just buzzing about these internships. And prior to that, I had thought, an internship, it was something that you got after you graduated, kind of to transition into your job, which is true for other disciplines like maybe journalism, marketing, business. But for nursing, it was a little different. You're definitely going to want to seek those opportunities and land those opportunities that summer right before your senior year. And that's another reason why definitely being able to network outside of the hospital, or even when our school actually brought in fairs and things like that of local hospitals, that we were able to network with those individuals there on campus instead of going to the hospital. So that it kind of brought a level of familiarity. But just because of that experience, I was able to stay on as a patient tech, and I kind of just transitioned into the preceptorship. I had a preceptor and I was able to be a bedside nurse there after I graduated.
So how was your relationship with your preceptors? Because I've heard a lot of experiences where, you know, some new grads have terrible experiences. And you would even know now with, you know, the rates of so many new grads leaving the bedside within 1 year. I mean, we're looking at almost 60% now, and that's crazy. But that really stems with that relationship of your first few months. So how was that with your preceptor? Feel like you got to really build a bond, but also learn and grow and not feel chastised if you ask questions or if you made a mistake?
Definitely. Well, me and my preceptor, we definitely had a great relationship. We were very open. And I've always been a person that has been open to criticism, especially in that field, because I want to know what I can change, what I'm doing different, especially coming from a learning standpoint. We weren't best friends, you know, going to breakfast and stuff after the shift was over. But we definitely built a connection and a bond where we were able to kind of communicate with each other at a professional level. I do want to say our personalities were totally different. Like my preceptor was very meticulous, and in nursing you have to be meticulous anyway, but not to the extent that I was. She had a lot of energy. I don't know how I can really explain it other than I'm more of not a laid back person, but I like to observe and then take a course of action. Whereas my preceptor may, you know, just sprint off and immediately know what to do. And that may even come from years of being a nurse herself and automatically know what to do. I'm not a person, I don't want to say panics, but I'm not a person that just kind of jumps or is very, I don't know how to describe it. I don't want to say type A, but it's kind of type A. And if there's a type, I probably would be D. Like, if that makes any sense. So our personalities weren't really on the same wavelength, but as far as teaching and receiving feedback and criticism, I definitely feel like we had a good relationship there. Now, you know, I don't want to paint a picture of roses and gumdrops. I definitely had a few moments where I had to go to the restroom and cry. Like, I definitely felt those days that I was overwhelmed, or if I didn't understand something, maybe at that time the feedback wasn't received because the timing was wrong. Not necessarily what was said, but maybe just the timing was wrong. Or maybe, you know, I had already felt bad about making a mistake. And, you know, after somebody criticized me, it would be like, bam, bam, bam. And it was just overwhelming at a time. And so I definitely think when it does come to, if anybody is a preceptor, it definitely comes to picking the right timing. Is definitely key to give that feedback. But other than that,
they forget as well that we're coming in with like so much on our shoulders of wanting to be right and perfect, and oh my gosh, you know, now I'm dealing with real lives and it's not a mannequin anymore. And so sometimes I think as a preceptor, you almost forget that, you know, and then you only want to chastise on the things, the errors that were made, but you forget that it's not intentional, and maybe at the right timing, maybe at the end of the day after everything is calmed down, or maybe the next shift, hey, I want to point some things out that happened previously that I think we should work on. You know, you're right. The timing is definitely something that should be in perspective of preceptors. And I think this honest feedback that we're giving will definitely help, because also as a new grad and a student nurse, we need to find our voices. And if we don't find our voices early in the game, we might get burnt out before we even start our race. And speak up and say these things like, hey, I appreciate your criticism. I appreciate your feedback. I appreciate your guidance, but maybe it could be done at a better time, or maybe not at this shift, maybe you can pick it up next shift so I can go home and just de-stress from everything that happened today. Maybe some of those conversations should be more fluent.
Definitely.
From a nursing standpoint as a new grad and from a preceptor.
And I definitely think you capitalize on a great point that even though you're going to be a new nurse and you may be a new grad, or they may have this new grad program, you're going to have the fear of that first med error. So definitely having a fluid conversation works. And I definitely think that we have to remember that although these individuals that are training us may have years under their belt, at the end of the day, we are all on the same team, and we're essentially all on the same level. Although you may have been here for 10, 12, 15 years, I'm going to turn to you naturally for a resource because of your experience. However, we are all registered nurses on the floor, kind of on the same level. So there should be a level of comfortability there with having open dialogue and open
and
communication.
A level of respect.
Your voice. Yeah. Right. Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And I think that's what's hidden as well, especially being this millennial generation that's coming in. We're no longer taking that backlash anymore of, you're a baby, you're this, you're that. No. Because the way my license is set up, it definitely says registered nurse.
We're equal.
Just like you.
Yes.
So we are equal. Treat me with respect. Don't treat me like a child that's just making errors left and right, but definitely help me, coach me through, give me that advice, but don't belittle me and make me feel like I now have to, be in the game for a year or two before I gain your respect. It doesn't work.
Right.
Or we're no longer accepting that kind of behavior. But I definitely want to jump into the fact that you're not just a nurse. And if you don't mind me asking, how long have you been a nurse now?
I have been a nurse since June of 2015. So a little over 2 years. Barely.
So you are not just a nurse. You are also a boss lady on the side. And I definitely wanted to highlight how you are using your skills as a nurse to not only impact the bedside, but you're also impacting the community. Am I not correct?
No, that's definitely right. I do have a passion, and I kind of not touched on it a little bit with saying that I really wanted to go to HBCUs, but I have a passion for the culture. Like, I guess that's the best way to say it.
Come on, passion for the culture.
And the culture of minorities, I do. And then especially women empowerment, I love being able to, talk in a circle and be like, all right, sis, what's popping? Like, what's going on? Like, how can I help you get to where you want to be? I talked to my line sister. I am a proud member of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated.
Girl, throw that Incorporated. Go ahead and throw that in. You ain't one until you throw in Incorporated.
It's not right unless you say it. But I was talking to her recently, and I kind of was trying to hone in on like what my talent is for, what my real passion is for. And I do feel like I am a connector of people. Like, I like connecting people in need to each other. I like being able to see like, oh, you need this. I have a friend that does that. Let me connect y'all because I want to see you succeed.
Yes.
So how can I get you those resources? I don't have them. Like, I'm not going to front or anything, but guarantee you 9 times, probably 9.5 times out of 10, I know somebody that does that connects you, that I can connect you with. So I love being able to connect people. I love being able to see us win as a culture, as minorities, and see us flourish. And I love just being able to listen to the passion and vision of others and see how I can help them reach their goal or their end. So whatever avenue that I can do that in, that's what I'm all about. So in saying that, definitely when it comes to a nursing avenue, I want to see how I can expand and explore what type of influence that we can grow as minorities, as Hispanic, Latino Americans, as African Americans, as Asian Americans. What kind of influence and impact can we expand upon, especially in the realm of healthcare? Like, what are these realms that we aren't touching, that we don't know about, that we can get into and bring light to our community, especially because we'll have a lot of, Caucasian American providers caring for our people that may not know how to relate to us, especially when it comes to health literacy and things like that. You cannot speak over people's heads, but for that provider, they may not be speaking over their head. That just may be their terminology. Just being able to be relatable, especially to those in our community, I feel like being able for us to care for us would definitely improve some of our health outcomes.
That's extremely true. And I love how you are doing this networking of, let me connect you to this person. I don't know this. I don't have the resources, but I know somebody that can get it for you. And the one thing that I definitely see that we need in our generation is more mentors like you. More mentors who've gone through nursing school already, or mentors who've gone through their first year at the bedside, because that is your experience. And from your experience, you have so much knowledge to share to somebody else who's coming into that experience. You know what I mean? And I love how you highlighted that. That's awesome. Like, I really love that. So tell me about the Glo Print. I want to know more.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So the Glo Print is actually a event-based organization community based in Dallas, Texas. So we help women influencers, entrepreneurs, and creatives to glow, grow, and grind. And what that basically means is we focus on personal development. So basically the woman behind the brand, grind, which is the networking aspect of it. How, connecting those two people together and definitely grow. How can we help your brand grow? How can we help your brand, get from point A to point B? Once again, what I was saying earlier, just how can we help kind of develop your plan or help you get those resources to develop your plan. So I love the personal development. I love that aspect of talking about, behind the scenes, behind these business women, like we go through things, like we have deaths in this, we go through loss, we go through, depression, we go through panic attacks. Like this is real. And being able to address that head forward, especially with how what you go through personally can affect your creative side or your business, and being able to connect those two and just kind of have a community for that and give resources, that can help. How do you push through those points of your low points? Because your business or your creative endeavor, or you just scaling up on the corporate ladder, because, everybody is not meant to be an entrepreneur, and that's cool. People, are fine in their business, but want to scale up the corporate ladder. Just how do you do that while you go through these things personally? Our Glow and Grind.
Tell me and tell my listeners how, if they want to find out more about Glo Print, how would they reach you? Are you on social media? How can we find out about you, girl?
So the Glo Print is actually on Facebook and Instagram. We do not have a website. We are social media based. But if you type in on Facebook, like facebook.com/the Glo Print, just spell it as it sounds, the GLOPRINT, or on Instagram at the Glo Print. You'll be able to find us super easily there. You'll be able to click the link in our bio if you want any more information. If you're based in Dallas and you want to connect with us, the best way is definitely to either slide in our email inbox or definitely sign up for our email newsletter. So we have some super big things coming up from 2018. I'm super excited about it.
I hope you have truly enjoyed today's conversation. And for all my Caterpillar students out there in your cocoon of education, do not worry about these nursing butterflies, all right? Enjoy the time of your pre-glow and invest in your success, because when the glow up comes, it gets real. Remember, Toby Talks is rooting for you. We are your back support. So if you have any questions, feel free to send us an email at tobytalks@tobytaj.com. Again, that's tobytalks@tobytaj.com. Tune in our next episode. We're going to have a wonderful guest who is a registered nurse and a bomb nurse manager on her unit. She's going to let us know what a nurse manager role really entails and if you're really about that life. Okay, I'm out. I'll be talking to you guys later.